Welcome back, everyone. It is Eric from Rare Candy, and today I'm bringing you guys the first of 4 rounds from a recent league challenge that I got to go attend at Cape Fear Collectibles over in Wilmington, North Carolina. Over on the left, we have Devin H facing off against Daniel Pachursky. And this is actually kind of a cool matchup. We have the Meowscarada EX deck going up against Lost Box. So I believe this is specifically Meowscarada with Arceus V-Star as well. I think on paper, Devin does have a little bit of an advantage by being able to do those sniping abilities with the different Meowscaradas. He also does play the Yoga Loop Metacham V in the deck as well, which could allow him to maybe steal an extra turn from time to time by picking off some of these low HP basics that are inevitably going to be on the field for the Lost Box player. But of course, Devin does have to find those rare candies to get up and going, whereas the Lost Box deck is going to be probably a little bit more consistent. It's going to be able to put on a little bit more early game pressure here. But it looks like Devin is going to get to go first, and I do apologize about the glare, but I believe that is going to be an Arceus V-Star, or Arceus V, I should say. But here he's going to use that brand new Artisan Stadium card to get himself a Sprigatito. Now, unfortunately, he will be giving that stadium over to Daniel as well, which will help get him set up, but he knows he needs to get these Sprigatitos down ASAP to have a good chance in this game here. Okay, he does have a counter stadium in his hand for next turn, so that can be good if he does want to deny Daniel access to this Artisan on future turns. But going on over to Daniel's turn, let's see what he's going to do here. Going to kick things off, looks like with an Artisan. Okay, maybe that's going to be via the nest ball. I'm not sure, but you actually can't grab Radiant Greninja with Artisan. It only is limited to basics without a rule box. So I guess either way, it doesn't matter here. He can use the nest ball in theory to grab the Greninja, then use the Artisan to grab Comfy. And maybe that's what he did, but it looked like he did it kind of in the other order. But either way, it's going to work out fine here. He's going to use that Concealed Cards ability on Greninja to draw a few extra cards. We're going to see the first flower selecting coming down, tossing away a nest ball. It seems like an easy decision there. So one card we have not yet seen this turn is actually Battle VIP Pass. I'm sure Daniel's going to be looking for that, assuming he does play it in his list. But there's going to be a second flower selecting. So no Battle VIP Pass in sight, but he does have another switch card, so he is going to be able to access a third flower selecting on this Comfy to start getting more cards into the Lost Zone. So he has 3 cards in the Lost Zone already, but we haven't seen a Colress's Experiment or anything like that. So he's not going to be able to get that first turn Cramorant attack off, it appears, and it's just going to pass back over to Devin here, which I'm sure Devin is ecstatic for. There he's going to use Artisan to grab himself probably another Sprigatito, but we also could see a Bidoof come down since he does play the Barrera on the deck. Oh, but he is going to go for the Manaphy here. That also works. He wants to protect these Sprigatitos against Radiant Greninja, just in case if he can't evolve them quick enough. And I'd imagine Devin's going to be looking for a few more of these Sprigatitos to get down this turn, if at all possible too. Now, I do believe Devin had an Iono in his hand, so we might see that come down. Now, the other question is, does he play the Lost City? Because there definitely are a few different pros and cons to getting this card in play. Okay, but he's going to get down the Medicham. And there is going to be an Iono. So, of course, both players are going to shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and draw equal to the amount of prize cards they have remaining. So both players are going to get a fresh hand of 6 over here. And I did see a double turbo energy in Daniel's hand. Does he have the Ultra Ball or V-Star? Okay, he does have the Ultra Ball, so he is going to be able to guarantee an Arceus V-Star coming down this turn. There's going to be an escape rope. Probably getting rid of the Ultra Ball also seems pretty good to me here. Yeah, that seems good, because then he can bench the Bidoof if he wants to. He can save that double turbo for his V-Star. So let's see. Looks like he's just checking some things in his deck, but there is going to be the Arceus V-Star. The next question is, does he actually use Starbirth this turn? Because he's not like being pressured super hard to use it, though he does run the risk of maybe Daniel having an explosive turn and maybe able to do some Sableye shenanigans and knocking out this Sprigatito. So there is, I do think there's an argument to popping the Starbirth here and just getting use out of it and get this Sprigatito evolved. But he also could save it if he's feeling, a little confident that Daniel won't have the Sableye play on the next turn. Looks like there's going to be the Bidoof. Okay, and so Devin is going to just pop that V-Star power here. We might just see a rare candy Meowscarada EX just to maybe, again, protect this Sprigatito here. I don't think that's bad, and it looks like that is indeed what he's going to be going for, which is kind of nice having Starbirth here just because finding your rare candy plus your evolution is always indeed the challenge with these styles of decks. So Starbirth being able to guarantee the full combo there is definitely really nice to get this Meowscarada set up. And at that point, we'll see the rare candy Meowscarada and probably just a Trinity Nova at this point to complete his turn. So he can take the knockout on Comfy and then actually power up the Medicham V with the Trinity Nova as well and have that ready to go. So even after that Iono, Daniel still does not have a Courses Experiment to draw some cards, which definitely feels kind of bad here. But he does have 2 Comfies on the field, so he will have an out to maybe hitting one here. There's going to be a Battle VIP pass getting sent to the Lost Zone. Easy decision there. So there's going to be the Artisan. Now, I actually will say, I don't know how much I like this. Well, it depends what else he's planning on doing with his turn. But if he's trying to hit Courses Experiment here, the Artisan actually does reshuffle the order of his deck, which means, all those cards he just put at the bottom of his deck are now going to be, mixed in. They could find their way back to the top and might make it harder to find a Courses Experiment. But if he's conceding that he's not going to get the Chorus this turn and just wants to guarantee this Cramorant attack, I think this is probably okay in that situation. But if he's planning on using the other Comfy, I think I would have liked to have seen him hold off on using that Artisan just yet. Oh, but he does find the Courses Experiment, so that is exactly what he's looking for at this point here. So he does have to chuck 2 of those cards away into the Lost Zone here. I imagine the Manaphy will be one of them. Pretty pointless card in this matchup since it does not protect against things like the Meowscarada EX or even the Medicham V's attack. So it makes sense. He's also going to toss away a Cramorant as well. So there's going to be the switch card into another Comfy. Okay, tossing away a Courses Experiment. And now I imagine we'll probably see him switch back into Cramorant to at least finally get off an attack here. So there's going to be a Nest Ball, getting a Dragonite V down. So he does have the 4 Sealstone in his hand, so he probably just wants to have access to Dragonite, or have the Dragonite to have access to the 4 Sealstone, just in case of an Iono or a Judge or something like that, potentially. So he is at 6 cards in the Lost Zone here. If he does get rid of the 4 Sealstone with his Lost Vacuum, that will get him up to that 7 amount, and he will be able to start pressuring this Arceus with the Dragonite. And actually, I don't really hate that play if that's what he's going for here, just because that actually sets up some really good Sableye math for the next turn, since Arceus will only have 3 damage counters remaining. But Daniel definitely has a few different routes he can take with this turn. So he is using his 4 Sealstone, which of course does allow him to search his deck for any card, but what does he actually want to get here? That's the next question. I think he already has a Chorus for next turn if I saw correctly in his hand, so he doesn't need to grab that. He has a couple Mirage Gates as well. He is eyeing himself down a Sableye. That seems okay. That's a card you definitely want at some point here. So you can see Daniel's probably just a little bit overwhelmed with the sheer volume of options he has access to with 4 Sealstone in this instance. Because again, I'm assuming he's playing it just to be able to vacuum it off the Dragonite. Again, that's my thought here. Okay, and I think he just grabbed a boss's orders. So that seems okay as well. It's a card you can't really search out of your deck any other way. Whereas if the Artisan stays in play, he can get his Sableye out that way. So this seems fine to me. So the next order of business, we do need to see some sort of switching card from Daniel, because no doubt he wants to finally get off and attack this turn. I think we see a switch cart, though the switch cart could potentially be valuable in this matchup. Just because, of course, Meowscarada EX is going to be spreading damage counters with its ability, so switch carts could be good to save for after your board starts to get peppered a little bit with those. So there's going to be the Lost Vacuum. Looks like he's going to chuck away that Hawlucha, getting rid of the Force Sealstone. Looks like he wants to keep the Artisan in play, since even though Devin can get his Sprigatito's into play, well, also Daniel can get things like his Sableye down with it as well. And so Daniel is going to take a KO here on the Bidoof, and we're going to kick things back over to Devin here. So it looks like he's going to kick things off with an Artisan, probably just going to get down another Sprigatito. That seems pretty good here, because I think his deck really sort of takes off once he gets two of these Meowscaradas in play, because its ability, you discard a Grass Energy from hand and you put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So with 2 of these abilities being activated in a turn, you then can set up these Comfies to where a Yoga Loop on Medicham V can finish them off and grant you an extra turn in the process. So there's going to be double turbo coming down on the Meowscarada. It's also not a bad attacker too, guys. If your opponent does have a damage counter on their active, you do get, I think it's a 100 damage buff, or is it 120? I'll have the card on screen. You guys will be able to see. But I believe it's a 120 damage buff. And yeah, there's not too much else I think we really want to see from Devin this turn. He has his board set up pretty well. He has the rare Candy Meowscarada for the next turn as well. So here he is going to knock out that Cramorant. And let's see if he's going to get anything. Okay, he's going to get some, looks like some Grass Energies out of his deck here. Just to thin a little bit. Okay. So maybe Devin's thinking, well, I can hard retreat these off of my Pokemon and then use Superior Energy Retrieval to guarantee them back into my hand. Maybe that's what he's thinking here, but my knee-jerk reaction would be you don't need all this extra energy in play. But I didn't get a great look at Devin's hand, so he might have some way to make use of these. Well, let's see what Daniel's going to do here. He has passed that 7-card threshold in the lawsuit, I'm pretty sure, if I saw correctly. So he will be able to use Colress's Experiment. Or not Colress's Experiment, but Mirage Gate to get his Pokemon set up here with some energy. But there's going to be Energy Recycler, so that is going to put some energy back into his deck. Okay, there's going to be Mirage Gate setting up Sableye, and probably just getting an energy on the Dragonite, or the Radiant Greninja also seems fine here. I think the big thing we need to see from Daniel this turn, though, is I think he actually needs to chase down this Sprigatito with his Sableye, if at all possible. Just because, like I mentioned, once Devin gets 2 of these in play, he can then start using this whole double snipe Yoga Loop combo with Medicham V, and I think that's the big thing Daniel just needs to avoid at all costs. So I'm not sure how many cards he has in the Lost Zone at this point, but he does need to get up to 10 if he wants to use that attack on Sableye. Seems he is a little bit conflicted, but there's going to be a switch into Sableye. So he must have gotten 10 in there, and I just wasn't paying attention. But let's see what he's going to do. It looks like he's debating a boss's orders potentially. I actually don't know if you even necessarily need to boss, but it looks like he's actually going to chase down the Manaphy. So I think I see what Daniel's going for here. He wants to get rid of the Manaphy. That way, Radiant Greninja will be able to do some sniping shenanigans on the next turn. But Like I mentioned, guys, if Devin does have that rare candy Meowscarada play, which we know he does, this could really come back to backfire on Daniel this turn. Now, of course, Devin does need basic grass energies to be able to pull this off, but I think he actually does have the superior energy retrieval in hand to make this happen as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like the second to last card in his hand here. So Daniel might get punished kind of hard for this play. We'll see what happens, but okay, there's Meowscarada number 2 coming down. So there's going to be Artisan, maybe even grabbing another Sprigatito at this point. So especially if Devin can get 3 Meowscaradas in play and they're doing 3 of these sniping attacks every turn, that's going to be devastating for Daniel. So he is going to have to, well, I'm not sure how many grass energies are in discard pile right now, but he might have to hard retreat this Arceus V-Star to be able to get these energies back with the superior energy retrieval. Okay, and that does indeed look like what he is trying to do here. He knows what he's going for. He's sending the Medicham up. Just needs to play that superior energy retrieval to set up this play. So he's going to play it. We knew that was coming. Maybe getting rid of Arceus. That seems like a good Pokemon. And maybe even a boss at this point, because you have another boss in hand already. Or even double turbo potentially. But yeah, he's going to chuck away the boss here. Going to get these 2 grass energies back out the discard pile. So let's see what he's actually going to target down here. I would imagine we're just going to see this sniping damage come down on Comfies. Yeah, makes sense. He probably wouldn't mind targeting the Sableye, but unfortunately Meowscarada's ability only is limited to the bench Pokemon, not the active. So after 2 of those sniping abilities, comes in with the Yoga Loop attack. He places 2 damage counters, and if he does take a knockout with the attack, he gets an extra turn, which is absolutely devastating here. So there's going to be a retreat into the Meowscarada EX, and if he actually has another grass energy, we could even see... Oh, and he does have the superior energy retrieval. Yeah, so this actually could be almost like a checkmate situation at this point, because if he sets up a damage counter on this Dragonite, bosses it up, he is going to be able to go down to a single prize, and at that point, I actually don't really see a way for Daniel to come back in this game. So there's going to be the ability number 1, targeting down the Dragonite. So yeah, it does indeed look like that is Devin's plan here for this turn. And he actually has the 3rd Meowscarada EX as well, which is insane. So actually what he can do, he can even maybe... No, he can't win this turn, I don't think. Oh, and he is putting 3 damage counters on the Sableye. He's actually not allowed to do that. Meowscarada's ability does in fact only work on bench Pokemon. Now, if he is planning on playing a boss's orders here, it doesn't matter. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter, but yeah, he effectively would have had access to this play as well. But yeah, technically that Sableye did have to be on the bench first to be able to target it down. But honestly, guys, I don't think it makes a difference here, because whether it's the Sableye or the Comfy, you know, like, Daniel's still only going to be like a single ability away from being picked off. And, you know, Devin can knock out anything that's on his field right now, too, even with the Arceus V-Star. So I think this is kind of a checkmate scenario either way. We'll see what Daniel can try to do here. I think one of his only options is maybe to, like, boss up one of these bench Meowscaradas that don't have any energy on them and try to just start spreading behind them and just really just hope that Devin can't find any energy to keep using these abilities. I think that's what he has to do. It's like a really long shot at this point, but I think that's where he's at in the game. You can see here he is debating using the boss's orders. So there's going to be a switch. Okay. And he does have a switch cart, so he actually can heal down the Sableye a little bit, which is good. That's one of his only ways at sticking in the game a little bit longer. So switch cart, of course, is going to heal his basic Pokemon by 30 that he switched. It looks like he is debating going for a Mirage Gate here. Okay. Just trying to start using this Radiant Greninja. I feel like at this point, you probably just do the second energy, just because if Radiant Greninja gets knocked out either way at this point, you lose. So you may as well get the extra energy and threaten the back-to-back Moonlight Shurikens here. So there's going to be the boss's orders. Again, probably just going to see Meowscarada EX come up into the active spot and just try to stall for some time and snipe behind this thing. Okay, yeah, it does look like that indeed is what's happening here. Okay. And let's see what he's going to target down. Okay, Medicham and the Arceus. That makes the most sense. They are the Pokemon with the fewest amount of HP. But let's see what Devin has here. I think he has a Super Ride. So he actually could get back that Manaphy that we saw go down. But here he's just going to get the grass energies. He knows he basically just needs to use Meowscarada's ability to win this game at this point here. So if he has a draw supporter in there, he's going to be probably in a good spot to start finding some energies. So after that switch card, he does need 2 abilities on Meowscarada, or he just needs a Meowscarada attack plus what, or even just a switch wins him the game too, because then he could just switch into Arceus, knock out Greninja. But yeah, there's going to be another grass energy, so he will be able to ping that Sableye for the game. And the Arceus Meowscarada deck here is going to take game 1, or I should say round 1 of this league challenge. But like I said, guys, I actually did record all 4 rounds of this tournament, so stick around for those. I'll be sure to have links in the description whenever each round goes live. But if you guys do enjoy this IRL gameplay, remember to leave a like on the video, or if you're feeling maybe a little extra generous and want to take that support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or you can pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.